Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Tekkit Lite Crash Course. You may have noticed I've been a little lax on episodes the past couple of weeks. That's mostly because I've had a bit of hard drive trouble, and as a result, I lost a lot of footage that I'd taken before. So I had to go ahead and recreate it, and then the drive crashed again, and I have to recreate it again. So that's why this is 2 weeks late. But some of the things that have been going on that haven't been being recorded, my wife and I started a little house inside the village walls, now that everything's all nice and lit up with wrath lamps. Don't know if I showed that off, but yeah, I hit F7, and there is not, well, there should not be, a single square where anything can spawn. Cool stuff. So yeah, that's a house, got a little flag on it. It's not complete, as you can plainly see. It'll look a lot nicer once it is, and it'll have a roof in addition. Moving right along, my museum is coming along quite nicely here. Turn off light control. Basically just using blocks to stack up and put item frames on for various items from the different mods. Far from complete as well. I've got all of Balkan's weapons mod on a single column. There's no block associated with it, so I just use these chiseled blocks. And I've finally made a target dummy. Neat. Basically, the harder you hit this guy, the more he wobbles. So if I hit him with this, boo, he wobbles a bit. Well, maybe it's not true. But regardless, yeah, that's a thing. Also, dimension doors, not a lot of blocks associated with this, so, I mean, I've got the fabric of reality, obviously. But so far, nothing really to attach to it. Let's see. Red Power 2 is coming along. Industrial Craft, I got a lot of stuff for that just because there's a lot of stuff to the mod. In addition, there's another set of armor that I have yet to do that I can do now that I have UU matter, but that is not the subject of this episode. And over here, I have not yet built a pedestal for that. I'll get to it. Don't worry about it. But for today, we're going to look at a new variety of farming that was added to the game with Industrial Craft 2. I'm going to need a bucket. I'm going to grab an oil bucket, just for sillies. I'm going to show you the basics of it, and as I mentioned before, I did record it, so this is sort of a completed garden of the sorts of things you can do, but we'll get around to more details of that in a moment. For now, basically, similarly to other forms of farming, like vanilla farming and things like that, you do have to have hydrated soil, which means you have to have something that hydrates, like oil, in this case. And you take your hoe, electric or otherwise, and just till the area around it. And of course, you know, you can cover out to 8 squares. We're just going to do a little bit for demonstration purposes. There we go. So this is all hydrated soil. It'll all darken up in time. But this is where it starts to differ. Because instead of planting directly onto the soil, as you would with normal things, let me grab a few things here, and we'll get started. Pumpkins. You can do this with any of the vanilla plants, by the way. You can't do it with flax. Flax is a red power plant, will not work with this mod. So don't worry about setting up little flax plants, if you will. We're also going to need some sticks. So let's got to make a bunch of them and just grab some out of here. And at its most basic, just take your sticks, go to your crafting bench-o-matic. You arrange them like so, like you're making a pair of boots. But instead of boots, they make crops. And these crops are going to be essential for this mod. They're the basis of, well, basically everything, even the machine to automate it. Basically, you take the crop, you put that on the soil, like so. And then you take your item that you wish to plant. This also works with cocoa beans, by the way, and netherwort. So this was actually a way to create netherwort in 1.2.5 on the surface using soil, whereas you couldn't do it before until I think like 1.4 or something like that. Hey, you just take whatever it is you're going to plant and you put it on the crop. Now this will grow over time, and at least in the case of wheat, will resemble the plant that it came from. Not so much with these guys. It'll look like there are 4 stalks here, but instead of growing out to either side, like the pumpkins and melons do in vanilla, they'll all grow up into a single square, which is kind of cool. I don't think I have any of these planted in the garden at the moment, but hopefully these will grow quickly enough that I can show you some of the finished product. Now, in addition to hydrating the soil with water, as in vanilla, there are some other things you need to do to sort of condition it for these plants, these new varieties of plants. And that's going to require a few new recipes, which I will show you right now. I got this thing down here. Ooh, that's one of them, by the way. We'll start with fertilizer. Fertilizer is basically just... don't want fertilizer yet. It's basically just scrap and bone meal. Bone meal. Here we go. Okay, can craft that. One scrap, one bone meal makes 2 piles of fertilizer. I'm going to be needing a bunch of this stuff. Come on, make some more. Come on. Okay, maybe not. Regardless, well, this will do for now. With the fertilizer, you just go out here to the soil, and the mod obviously keeps track of all this stuff. There's nothing you really need to do other than just keep this up. You just right-click on any place with a crop. It'll fertilize that soil. And it will wear off over time. You do have to come back and put more of this stuff on. But yeah, that'll help your plants to grow more quickly. Another thing that you can do, get the system here, get rid of this scrap, put fertilizer in here, the machine will use that. I'll show you that machine later. That'll be fun. But in addition to keeping things... Excuse me. In addition to keeping things fertilized, you also need to keep them hydrated. Now, there's a special way to do that. Basically, you take a plain old water cell. That's a cell made with 4 tin, and then add water to it. You take this guy and you put it into an extractor. That's going to go by really quick. Okay, we missed it. I'll show it to you in the system here. Head back downstairs. All right. Basically, what that creates is called a hydration cell. Hydration cells are used similarly to the fertilizer, except that instead of disappearing when you use it, it's sort of a multi-use item, like a tool. This will also help your crops grow faster, and indeed some crops require quite a bit of hydration to actually grow and crossbreed successfully. And nothing you have to watch out for with all this is weeds. Yes, weeds can grow on those little plots there, especially when you start crossbreeding. In order to make weed killer, known as Weed X, you need an item called grin powder. Now, grin powder is made by taking spider eyes and macerating them up. I'm going to take this guy up here to my macerator. Is this macerator? That's a macerator. So we'll take the overclock upgrades out for a moment, so give you an idea of what... Where's my... I left it in the crafting grid, didn't I? Whoopsie. Okay. Let's grab another one. Boop. Alright. So it's this guy in here. That'll macerate up into 2 grin powder. You might have seen there. It goes by really quick. And with those grin powder... Yeah, I left it in there. Whoopsie. Grin... With that grin powder, you put the grin powder there. You're going to actually take another cell, an empty cell in this case. Empty cell, and then you put a bit of redstone on the top. And you get Weed X. Weed X works exactly like the hydration cell. And now you take it out here, you take it to your crops, and you simply right-click. It uses a little bit of the Weed X and prevents weeds from growing. Neat. And you can apply this more than once. There are some more advanced aspects to this mod which require you to not add too much. It sort of affects their growth rate or something along those lines. I personally don't care. In fact, I'm probably going to be dismantling all this stuff once I have the crops that I want, because this is kind of a pain and the rewards aren't great, as we will see later. Regardless, onward to crossbreeding. And those are the basic tools of the trade. There is a way to automate this, which I'll show you shortly. But for now, with these plants, you can also crossbreed. To crossbreed, you put down a crop, like so, just like you would the others. Then you put another crop on it, and as you can see, it makes this little cross-hatched pattern. And what this cross-hatched pattern means is that once these two plants are mature, they have a chance of producing either one of the parents or a crossbred plant on this square. And as that crossbred plant grows up, it could be something new and unusual and something that doesn't appear in vanilla at all. In fact, I'll give you a quick tour of some of the things that you can make. Now, I started all this out by just planting a ton of netherwort and crossbreeding it. And with that, I got, well, that and a combination of, like, crossbreeding the results. I got coffee, which will give you ground coffee. Well, not ground coffee, but coffee beans, which you have to take the macerator and grind. You can get flowers, which give you unusual dyes. Oh, and by the way, to harvest these, you simply right-click on the item. Instead of having to break it and replant it, the plant remains, but you get the good stuff. So you get all kinds of unusual dyes you couldn't normally get before, purple flowers, black flowers. There are also plants that will give you iron, like this ferru here. Now, some of the higher-end plants, there's a smaller chance of actually getting said ferru and things. Or said dust, I should say. There's also this Aurelia. If you didn't guess by the name of ferru, this will give you gold nuggets on a chance. I think got some more on the other side here. Yeah, there we go. Gold nuggets. Cool stuff. Again, you only get nuggets out of this. It's not a real efficient way to get gold, even if you have a huge farm. And there's no way to automate the picking of this stuff. I'll grant you that. You do have to go through and do it manually. Now, one of the nice things you can get out of this is Terrawort. Terrawort, it was originally part of, like, Ether Mod or something like that. Basically, it looks a lot like Netherwort, except that you can eat it directly. It doesn't fill any hunger. You can eat it at any time. What it does do is removes all negative status effects, which will come in handy for some of the later things like ale brewing and things like that. But it only removes negative status effects. Unlike milk, which removes all status effects, Netherwort removes negative status effects and makes a handy snack. So if you ever just want to munch on something, grab some Terrawort. Grab some more of that ferru there. What else we got here? Got some more flowers. Basically just, again, different colors of dye. This stuff here is hops. Now, I only have one of these, and it doesn't always give me what I'm looking for because it's a jerk. I'll get rid of some of this stuff here. Now, you might have noticed that those iron things were small piles of iron dust. You take two of these, you put them together, you get a regular pile of iron dust. Handy dandy. Regardless, what was I doing? Yes, hops. I have picked this before, obviously, for previous episodes. And this is what you get from it, these little hops seeds. These will come in handy later on when we start brewing ale and... what's the other thing? Rum, I believe it is, from the sugarcane stock. So, that'll be a fun thing to do. Next episode, maybe episode after. I'm not really sure yet. Then we have stickweed here, which stickweed gives you sticky resin and just regular reeds. So, the vanilla plants, once they're fully grown, basically just give you whatever the vanilla plant would give you. Easy peasy. Now, when you do break one of these, like say you have it has to be fully mature adult plant. Don't just break any old plant that you don't like. Let's see, what can we take? What can we take? We'll take some of these flowers over here. We don't need those, because those guys, they're almost grown. It's kind of neat. Anywho, say we break one of these guys. They have a chance of giving us both whatever the plant would normally give us, and these little seed packets. These seed packets can be used to regrow what it is you just had. This one was fortunate enough to give me 2, so I can just go and replant 1. But as you see, it's called unknown seeds. It's not called flower seeds or anything like that. To ID these seeds, without actually just planting them, waiting for them to grow, you can use what is called a Crop-Analyzer. I'm going to grab mine from my inventory here. Get rid of this stuff again. Trying to keep things tidy now. Get rid of the Weedex, don't need that. And hydration cell. Get rid of everything. Anyway, the Crop-Analyzer is made, I'll look up the recipe right now. Crop-Analyzer is made like so. Electronic circuit, redstone on either side, a bit of glass in the middle for the display, and then 2 copper cables on one side of the top. Just don't worry about that corner there. And that'll give you your Crop-Analyzer. Now, when you put the crop analyzer into your hotbar and right-click, gives you this interface. This interface here, it does require power. So RE batteries or energy crystals will work. Crop-Matron crystals will not. So this is probably the easiest way to get power out of it and keep going with it. Whatever it is you want to ID has to be on your hotbar as well. It will not open your regular inventory. Basically, to use it, you just take your unknown seeds, or even your known seeds. This will give you some stats as well. And as you can see, the first ID just names it. So it'll tell you they are now blackthorn seeds. Put them in again, and they'll give you what tier plant they are. Tiering has to do with like rarity and how readily they will crossbreed and make other things. It'll also give you who discovered them. By discovered, they mean who added it to the mod. Vanilla plants will say they're discovered by Notch. This is added by Alblaca. There are a couple others, I think. Terrawort has a different name to it. But you take it and you put it in again, they give you these keywords. I have no idea what those are. But you put it in one more time, and it'll give you these stats. What these stats are, they're, well, how quickly and how readily the plant will grow, how much yield the plant will give you, so like how much black dye this will give you per shot, as well as the chance of giving you seed packets when you smash it. And the resistance is how resistant it is to weeds. Weeds can grow over these plants if you don't keep them well maintained. In order to keep them maintained, I'm just going to plant these guys here because I don't care. In order to keep them maintained, there is a machine block. If I can get an angle on it, here we go. Just stand in here. This will work. There's a IC2 machine block, which when you right-click on it, first of all, it's called a Crop-Matron. The Crop-Matron is made like so. Crops are on the outside, machine block there, chest for storage, and then 2 electronic circuits on the corners. Gives you your Crop-Matron. And what Crop-Matron does, when you right-click on it, you get these 3 inventory slots. This one only fills with fertilizer, as you might see from the shape of the thing there. It's kind of hard to see just clicking over it. Hydration cells in the middle. Whoops. And then Weed-X on the side here. You see it's sort of shaped like a thing of Weed-X. And each of these will only take those items. Now you can't just pipe them in just straight in and it'll sort out automatically. You do have to separate how these things are added. Like in the top will only go hydration cells, and anything that goes in the top will go where the hydration cells go. So if you're pumping in fertilizer in the top, they're going to go in the hydration cell section and not do anything. They'll just kind of sit there and look at you funny. Regardless, I'm going to scoot around the side here. In the side, we'll go fertilizer, and that can go in any of the sides northeast, southwest. And then in the bottom will go your Weed-X. I have the export buses sending these items into this, as well as set to move single item / craft. So this tells the ME system to craft the item and then send it through and then puts it into the machine. So this always has a constant supply of everything it needs to keep my entire garden here healthy. Again, probably going to get rid of this stuff. Again, it does take IC2 power. It's an IC2 block. Got my power converters, all this fun stuff. This guy here is just a light source, because, I mean, gotta have light. There is a plant which only grows in, like, a darker environment. It's basically a redstone plant. It gives you redstone when you right-click on it. Not a whole lot of point in IC2, because you can get the same result with UU matter, and lots of it. So if you have a good enough power system, you don't need all this, except perhaps for the coffee. Now, I mentioned before that there are some limitations to the rewards that you get from all this. First of all of this took a very, very long time. This took like 2 days overall, just to A, fill all of these areas with the plants that I wanted, and then B, expand them out enough to give me any kind of proper yield. So, I mean, for the Terrawort, it's probably very, very worth it. You can set up a whole garden of Terrawort. This stuff grows very easily. Coffee, not so much. It's a little bit more difficult to crossbreed into coffee, and Ferru and Aurelia are completely useless. Oh, speaking of Ferru and Aurelia, I almost forgot to mention, if we dig down here a little bit, you'll see I've got a bit of gold ore and a bit of iron ore. What all of this is for is certain plants, specifically Ferru, Aurelia, I think coffee as well. So a lot of the higher end stuff needs, well, nutrient-rich soil. And to get said nutrient-rich soil, you put gold and iron blocks within 3 blocks of the soil block. So you just put down your iron and your gold. It has to be ore, it can't be blocks. Put them down, and then anything growing on top has a chance of becoming, you know, again, the higher end Ferru, Aurelia, coffee, things like that. I think the redstone requires that as well. But yeah, that's another thing that you have to keep in mind. Something is eating my RAM. Okay, so my computer's attempts to repair my hard drive are sapping RAM. So if this gets a bit choppy, I do humbly apologize. But coming back up, again, limited rewards. So what we're going to do, we're going to take some of this coffee here. We're going to take all of it. Oop. Choppy choppy. Good old-fashioned lag. Gotta love it. Pick up. Why am I not picking it up? Probably because of the lag. Okay, yeah, I got it. Ah, here we go. Stuff's starting to grow nicely. This is what pumpkins and melons look like when they're fully grown. As you can see, there's no real pumpkin here, but if we right-click on the plant, it gives us 2 pumpkins from a single square. That's actually kind of cool. If only there's a way to automate this like I have my existing pumpkin and melon vanilla farms. And then once the pumpkins and melons both come in, like here are my melons. Ooh. Lag. Oh well. But yeah, once they both come in at the same time, they'll have a chance of crossbreeding into something. Moving along. Again, you just take these coffee beans to a macerator. It will not work with a pulverizer. Tried that. Won't work with a, what's that thing called? Quartz grindstone. Tried that as well. Take these guys, you toss them in here, and they spit out coffee beans, so coffee powder. Specifically 3 coffee powder per ground coffee beans. Then you can take your coffee beans, oh, coffee powder, my mistake. Get rid of some stuff, excuse me. That's another project I was working on. And if you take some stone, we're going to make a stone mug. Don't need a whole lot, just need, I think it's like 7 pieces of just stone. If this will kindly work with me here. Well, I got a stone mug here anyway. So the stone mug is made like so. Stone nug. No, stone mug. Here we go. Basically, arrange it like you would a door. What is this? 0. I have no idea what that is. Fascinating. It's like a mug of piss. Anywho, arrange it like you would a door and put another little bit on the side, and you get a stone mug. Stone mug is used for a few of these beverages in industrial craft. And we're also going to need some water, so I'll grab a few water cells here. Basically, you take your water, you take your coffee powder, and you take your stone mug, put them together, you get cold coffee. Kind of boring, no one likes cold coffee. We'll take it downstairs and we'll put it in an oven, and that will obviously heat said coffee. I'll put on one of these guys so it doesn't get sucked back into the system again, because that's just plain inconvenient. Speaking of coffee, I'm going to take a sip of my real-life coffee. So now we have dark coffee. Dark coffee, if you're into that sort of thing, you can, let's see, I'm going to need a bucket. And I'm also going to need, what else am I going to need? I'm just going to need some sugar. I'm going to make from sugar cane. So I got a sugar. I'm going to need to grab some milk. Still got that tank set up on the other side here. There we go. So now we got our milk, got our sugar, we got our dark coffee. You put it all together and you get coffee. Now coffee is sort of the ultimate coffee. It has a better result to it than simply cold coffee or dark coffee. this will give you the biggest benefit. By the way, said benefit is, when you right-click and drink it, 15 seconds of speed and 15 seconds of haste. That's not a whole lot. So you're going to have to carry a bunch of these around in order to keep the benefits up. But these mugs don't stack. If you're going to have something with such a small benefit, you want to be able to stack it. But the mugs don't stack, the coffee doesn't stack, there's no canteen item. So you can't carry like a thermos full of coffee around with you. See, it's already gone. It's already gone. I'm still talking, it's already gone. My avatar is so furious right now. But yeah, 15 seconds, not a whole heck of a lot. Even with higher yields, that won't help you at all. So, not really worthwhile, save for the Tarowart. Feru, kind of pointless. Aurelia, small yields. Overall, not the most useful of things to really spend a whole lot of time on. I did it for the episode because that's what I'm doing. I'm doing this for you so you don't have to. If you really, really want coffee, then by all means, you know, make stuff with this mod. But in the long run, don't waste your time. It's not very practical. Kind of fun, but overall, not my cup of coffee. So that has been Industrial Craft 2 Farming. Feel free to like, favorite, subscribe the video if you did enjoy it. Leave questions and suggestions in the comments below. I'll read as many as I can. Not that I get that many to begin with. And I will do episodes on customer viewer questions. Overall, have a nice day. Enjoy your farming. Or not farming. Either way you want to work it. And that's an episode. Have a nice evening.